Hi, this is Lucy Appert, and I'm here with Susanna Horng, and we're going to talk about Susanna's Writing 1 class that she put in the pilot for the Atlas Network, which is NYU's instance of the Sakai Open Academic Environment. So Susanna, when we talked last fall, we talked about 3 different areas that you were hoping the technology in Sakai OAE and Atlas would help you with. You wanted to work on synthesis, helping students to bring multimedia aspects into their writing. And you wanted to work on the concept of portfolio, helping students to think about their work as part of a body and building a body of work both for themselves and as a class. And you also wanted to talk about building community as a kind of a support for both of those. So we're here to hear how things went.
Okay, so I have 3 sample pages to show you from my Atlas group from last semester. In terms of synthesis, what I modeled for the students was how to make connections among texts and how to present those connections. So what you're seeing here is an assignment page for a paper where the students had to read Alison Bechdel's graphic memoir, Fun Home. And I gave the students guiding questions for them to pay attention to as they were reading the piece. And then I also gave them hyperlinks with information about Fun Home. That's a review that links out, and also biographical information about Alison Bechdel. And then I also linked to her blog, which gives new work, and it gives how to contact her, and information about what's going on with her. And this also is a model. This is also a model of a portfolio. She has a digital portfolio of her work, her news and reviews, her books, her contact information, her art. So it's modeling for students a way to synthesize information, both digital and visual and text, and how to present it as to represent their particular point of view. And so this is another assignment. So the students had to read the text over 2 classes. And in this particular assignment page, there's a picture of Alison Bechdel. So in the first page, we see her representation of herself through her illustration. But then here is the photograph that accompanied the Times article about her revisiting the home that she writes about in the graphic memoir. And this third page that I'm showing you is the assignment that I'm asking the students to do, which is to choose a place, a place that's important to them, and to write about that place as a metaphor for a relationship with someone important to them. So the sort of guiding text for that is an essay that Holland Cotter wrote in the New York Times about his experience visiting Emily Dickinson's home. So there's the picture of Emily Dickinson's home. There's also the text of the article. And this I gave students to read so they could see how something out in the world reflects something that they're doing in class. And so those are all examples of synthesis of a visual, of text, and linking, hyperlink out to give the reader more context or background information, or just to make the experience fuller for the reader.
So I just want to point out a couple of nuts and bolts things from this because it's very exciting. Number one is how nicely the assignment embraces the multimedia environment. So it's not just, hey, put a picture up there, but the picture is really important it adds another dimension to the writing. And so it's asking students to put that angle of looking at a picture into their writing as well, and to examine the different modes of expression. So that is really exciting. Another thing, and this is a technical nuts and bolts thing that's really exciting, you are bringing into this environment links to library licensed material. So you're not making a PDF of Holland Cotter's article, but you actually went into the license service that we have, and you're bringing it in here. We have a thing called the remote content widget. So once you find this this link, if you go to edit page, all you have to do is all you have to do is click on insert, and you see there's a remote content widget, and there's a remote content, and we'll just skim down to the bottom and take a look. The remote content widget is down at the bottom, so we don't have to go in there. So so this is really exciting in terms of ways to build this out. You're actually sending students out into a variety of places, but bringing it into one hub environment. Do you want to talk some about the portfolio aspect?
Sure. What I love about the Atlas environment is it allows students to collect their writing. And when we scroll down to the bottom of the page, you can see the way that I set it up for this semester was by assignment. You could set it up by student name. There are a variety of ways to do it. But I thought for the student's perspective, setting it up by assignment would create one place for the student to go to see all of their peers' writing for that particular assignment. And the rationale behind this is so that students will read their colleagues' work, so they can see how other students are interpreting the idea, how they're expressing their idea, and it will help them examine their own writing as well as examine the writing that's going on in the community.
You said that students actually confessed that it was really easy for them to browse each other's work.
Yeah, and they were sheepish and embarrassed to admit that they were reading other students' work. They called it creeping, and I had to tell them to re-envision what they saw as creeping as really being part of a community, and reading to read one another's work was not creeping, and it wasn't creeping, but creepy. But really that's the goal of using a portfolio system, and a portfolio that is open to everyone so that you can see the writer develop his or her ideas, and oftentimes students would help their classmates develop their ideas in a much richer way than just having it in the classroom, because students have different schedules. Some students are more proactive, some students are bored. Often the students would say they would read them because they had nothing else to do and they wanted to see what their classmates were doing. Another student said that, many of the students were half-assing the assignment, and she was disappointed about that because she felt value in what they were doing, and she had higher stakes, and she was disappointed that her classmates didn't share that. So I thought that was an interesting interpretation of using the portfolio.
So people like the two of us who are on now our third layer of technology. I taught writing for 10 years. We did writing workshop with mimeographs, right, or photocopies, and passing around the classroom, and then the student took all of the drafts home. So you had one moment to look at it. We've used discussion boards where students have to go out and look at an attachment and then come back in and try to remember what they saw. So it's more of an immediacy going on here.
The lovely thing about this environment is it allows you to present multiple texts. And a text can be lived experience. It could be an image. It could be a movie or a movie clip. It could be a piece of student writing. But you can present multiple texts on one surface, and you can collect these texts and refer to them over and over again. And the thing I love about creating the student portfolio is that the student's writing becomes just as important and just as central to the course as the published text. And the students learn more from one another's writing than they learn more from the student writing than they do from the published text, because the student writing is what they are able to do and what they can relate to more. And so what's really wonderful is to be able to look at an assignment or a piece of writing that the student did earlier in the semester or last week or 2 days ago, and how that relates to what someone else is doing or what they're revisiting. And often students need to be pointed towards those connections. They're not quite able to make them themselves, but this environment allows them to make those connections.
So you've got some work that you can use for next fall.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
One of the interesting things about the way Atlas Sakai OAE handles content is that every page that's created in a course space actually becomes a piece of content. So we're going to take a look at what the content profile for Susanna's syllabus is. I think it's on page 3. So Susanna's syllabus page is actually a linked set of pages, and all of that content that she's created can come together into another course space, and she can just change the dates on all of those linked pieces. So the syllabus is right there at the bottom. And when we take a look at this, this is the profile page. So on this profile page, if you take a look up at the top, we can see that this is a content item called syllabus. It's used in 4 different groups. So she shared this with all of her different Writing 1 sections. We can see what's on the first page of the syllabus. And if we actually click document at the top, we can page through maybe there's just one page. If you click document, you can page through. Yeah, you can page through the different pages of the syllabus. Also, if you go down the numbers on the side, you can see each of the side menu items that were in her course from last fall.
And the side menu items allow me to give students the assignment in detail. I can layer a trailer from a film I'm asking them to watch to get them interested in the film. I can post the PDF file of a reading. I can explain what I want them to do. I can give them context on who Gertrude Stein is, for example, because most of them have not heard of Gertrude Stein. I can give them context about who Frida Kahlo is or where to find more of her artwork. And it makes the syllabus more dynamic for the student. It just makes the learning experience richer. It's also making the assignments more fun for me to give to the students as well. And it helps me think about the assignments in different ways, or if the students raise something that I hadn't considered, I can add it.
But this is a lot of work. So the nice thing about it is that once you've assembled all of these pieces, you can pick this framework up and add it to your course next fall. So we're going to talk in another segment about what's happening for the spring. But thank you so much for showing us what you've done.
Thank you.